Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to be talking with my a good friend, Dr. Collin Starkweather, and we'll be telling you everything you need to know about DeepSeek in a few minutes. I know Collin through a mutual friend we've both known for many years. In my case, since we grew up in the same neighborhood in Córdoba. Collin holds a PhD in mathematical economics and also holds a degree in mathematics. He has not only worked for several high-tech startups in his career, but performed expert work in competition economics in the technology industry for over 20 years. He's currently serving as chief data scientist at his fourth high-tech startup, which is focused on building generative AI products, and also happens to have lived and worked in China. This gave him a rather unique perspective on the recent news about DeepSeek. So thank you for joining me today for talking about DeepSeek, Collin.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for that. So we've been reading that they trained their model for just a little over $5 million. How did they manage that, given the billions being spent by OpenAI and other big companies to train their models?
You know, the 5.6 million that I've seen cited in the
Okay.
press, I think is designed to grab headlines, but really is misleading. I understand that the 5.6 million is attributed to GPU cost at about $2 an hour. And that is solely for training their V3 model, which is their kind of plain vanilla language model, not their R1 reasoning model, which is what is capturing headlines. I think that when OpenAI or Meta cite figures, they're also looking to grab headlines with some big numbers. And so they're citing all-in costs, not just GPU training costs. So it's really an apples and oranges comparison.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification there. And so, is DeepSeek using different mathematical fundamentals, different thing that all you need is attention? Have they discovered new mathematical methods that make the DeepSeek more efficient?
There are various techniques that go into reasoning models like O1 or DeepSeek's R1. Their methodology has been published, which has, I think, captured a tremendous amount of interest among AI practitioners around the world. Whereas OpenAI, of course, has a proprietary model and so does not give you as much insight into what goes into the soup, so to speak. That being said, pundits have weighed in and speculated on some of the differences in the techniques they use. There are various degrees of reinforcement learning and supervised fine-tuning, for example, that you can use when creating reasoning models. And the talk on the street out there is that they're using more reinforcement learning and relatively less supervised fine-tuning than OpenAI would have used for O1. There's also a distinction between training your model and kind of incurring costs up front versus more of an inference time reasoning, and they're believed to use more training up front as opposed to OpenAI, which is relying more on kind of an inference time model. So I think there are some important distinctions in their techniques, but I haven't seen anything that's just fundamentally, moving the ball forward, a fundamental advance in technology or techniques that are being applied here.
Okay, insightful. Thank you, Colin. There. And you know that developing solutions in the research and open source environments is one activity, but creating a successful business is another matter. So, do you think that OpenAI will be defeated by Chinese models from a business standpoint?
I don't think defeated is necessarily the way to think about it, right? They're another player in a large and complex ecosystem. And, they have applied some techniques and some operating methods to what they're doing that differ from other players, such as OpenAI. And I wouldn't discount the difference in operating methods, over and above any differences in the techniques they've applied. There's a good Wall Street Journal article I might point people to, which talks about their operating model. And they take advantage of some of the things that they have in China that differ from what is available to players in the U.S., such as a large labor pool of unemployed or underemployed but highly educated youth in China. And so they've used that to, in a sense, throw more bodies at the problem than U.S. firms have done. So I think that's they will move forward, as will American firms. I think they will adapt, as will American, European, and other Western firms. I see everybody continuing to change and adapt, and I see everybody continuing to play in this space for some time.
Okay, thank you for the clarification, Colin. And thank you for your insightful reflections on generative AI. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye bye.